Now if you guys are making wave, hard wave, or even trap, you guys might want to check these loops out. Now what you just heard earlier on is basically the loops from my Nocturnal loop pack. Now these 4 loops are basically free for download. If you're interested to get these loops, head down to the link in the description box below. However, for this particular series, we're going to talk about the stems that make up these 4 loops. And these stems are included in a Nocturnal loop pack that I just released a few days ago. If you guys want to grab that, go hit the link down in the description as well. Also, these loop stems are basically made out of Vital, and I used off a couple of presets that I made previously. The Vital preset bundle is available on my website at vibesynthetic.com. It includes super saws, reese basses, atmospheres, and even melodic ups. Now if you guys want to grab that as well, I'm gonna leave the link down in the description box. Now before we get into this video, I'm gonna briefly talk about the format that we're gonna use for this episode and the future ones as well. We are gonna talk about the main chords, the arpeggios, the leads, and even the call and response strategy between these layers of stems. Now I really value your time coming from a perspective as a viewer, so if you guys want to skip to the loops that you guys want to hear, you guys can click on the timestamp below. Alright, we're gonna be looking at this first loop. The main chord is basically this pad-like sound. You can hear it's very mellow, but it sets a basic tone. Basically, I used the Vital preset from one of my bundles. It's called Slave to Machines, and I just adjusted it from there because it's all about efficiency when it comes to sound design. And now for the interesting part of this loop is the arpeggios. I have 2 arps over here, which is arp 1 and arp 2. Let me just play for you one, and you can hear the second one in response to the arp 1. Yeah. And then you have the second one, which sounds like this. And at a lower octave, so you get that balance of octaves and also the speed or the tempo between these 2 arpeggios. So let's play it together and you can hear the call and response for this. Then again, these presets come from the movement melodic ups pack from my Vital preset, so go check that out. The next thing is also another factor for call and response. I have a super saw over here with the leads going above these 2 arpeggios, so they sound pretty much full. So let's have a listen to these 3 tracks. So as you can hear from all 3 of these components, they actually have the mid to the high kind of range frequency, and the bass is just a general reese bass to top that off. I'm not going to run through the reese bass on this one, but specifically I'm going to run through the vocal section over here, which I recorded using my voice. So I added a bit of EQing and auto-tune and a bit of coloring on the TDR VOS Slick EQ. Also, I have the higher version of these vocals pitched up in the sampler, so when you double the vocals up, you can hear it sounds like this. So this basically gives a bit more movement and more natural harmonics in terms of the whole loop itself. It makes the whole stack sound really beautiful. Alright, we're gonna go to the second loop. It's called Dead Inside. Now this is pretty interesting because the main chord progression here, I actually started off with the bass, which is a reese bass. So it gets a bit of movement there, it gives a bit of character to the bass. And there's also the pads, which actually is the inversion of that. So lesser movement, more one-shot kind of chords. So the main core melody for this loop is this bass and this pad, which actually makes it sound more full and sets the foundation of this loop. And let's go to the arpeggios now. The arpeggios, then again, it's a call and response on the mid level kind of range. And then on the second arpeggio is a lot more slower so that it balances out this call and response towards the two synths. So notice I play the higher and the low octaves for this, and also the speed once again. This is done everything in Vital. I added a bit of delay and reverb just to give a bit of space and give them a bit of position through the different tremolo settings. Now let's start talking about the leads here. The leads, we have two tracks, which is this one and this one. The top one is a lot more eloquent, while the bottom lead over here is a lot more sharp, because the bottom lead is actually a super saw. Now let me just play the super saw first. So you get that cut through into the mix, and then to sort of like give a call and response to the lead, this is the second lead that is more eloquent to the sound. And that basically sums up the full loop stack for this, including some of the vocals that I did as usual, the lower pitch and the higher pitch on this one. I'm finally dead inside. So you know, when it comes to wave or hard wave kind of sample packs or loop packs, you have a lot of reverb and also a lot of delays. This is exactly what I did in this loop pack itself. So this is loop pack number 2, pretty awesome sounds. This third loop is called In the Fields. It's one of my favorites because I kind of like the main chord progression over here. Let me just play it for you guys. Basically send it to a bus for delays and reverb. It gives a little bit of extra towards the tremolo effect on the pitch for this. I've done in Vital. Bassline is a lot more simple, which I got from the Deep Ends Reese Bass preset pack in my Vital bundle. So you guys can check that out. And this is how it sounds together with the main chord of the pads. So you get that very dark kind of like very sinister kind of sound, and it gives a little bit of like hope with the pads on the main chord. Now we're going to talk about the ups now. The ups is a lot more unique. Let me just play the first one for you. So basically the ups, I have some parts repeated and changed the bounce a little bit. So you get, you know, this little going rhythm in this up itself. And it's more on the mid range for this one. And then let's listen to up number 2. So this up number 2 is less repetitive and it's on the higher octave. So that's how I create the call and response. The bounce plus a little bit of like up lead, I would call it. And of course with the leads, it's supposed to sound more jarring, more splitting into the mix itself. So this is another super saw lead. This lead, I put a lot of reverb and delay on it so that the presence of this lead still lingers as the up is playing. And now together with the ups as well. Now Now back to why I'm saying this is my favorite loop from this pack is because if you look at the MIDI pattern over here, the bass is very simple, and then comes to the pads, the simplicity of the MIDI pattern starts to shift around with this 3-note kind of chord, and then the up has the very fast movement with a call response to the second up, which is a lot more slower, and then we have the leads, which is basically filling in the gaps between the ups and having the delays and reverbs sort of like have sentiments within the mix itself to show its presence. Even though it's not playing a note, the time of the delay decides its presence. Alright, this is loop number 4 in the Nocturnal loop pack. Now this one has a pad, which I find it a lot more intricate when it comes to putting in the MIDI pattern itself. Let's have a listen at this pad because this is actually the main melody. So with that, you have this kind of like mid to low bubbly range. I added another Reese bass on top to give like a call and response. So as you can hear, the bass is actually very gritty while the main pad is a lot more smooth. This is how I balance the frequency and the character tone of these two synths, especially forming the main melody. There's also this second pad that I use that is quite constant in terms of the MIDI pattern here, just to give a little bit of depth towards the pad and the bass itself and lesser movement so that when people listen to it, you can actually hear that this is actually anchored by a certain melodic chord. So one tip, doing this with all the intricacies of your MIDI pattern with this simple kind of chords, it actually creates an anchor towards the sound stack that you're doing. Alright, for the ups, basically I have again a slower and also a faster version kind of up. Right now over here, up 1 is a lot more slower. So I will call this the lead up, like it's sort of like singing towards the melody of the pads and the bass itself. And then we also have this up number 2, which is more like a backup of the singing up. It gives a bit more movement towards the whole stack of these 2 ups. Now these up patterns are quite interesting because the call and response here is very clear. You can hear like the moving ups and then the singing ups on top of it. Topping it off, I have a liner from my vocals. I added an auto-tune and also an EQ, so I'm gonna just let you guys hear this.
Nights like this just don't come often.
Just to give a bit of haunting vibes for this, hence the name of the loop, Night Shifts. And together with the higher pitch of this vocal, it sounds like this.
Nights like this just don't come often.
And yeah, these are the 4 loops that I found in my Nocturnal loop pack. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave the link down in the description box below. If you would love to see more of these loop breakdowns, there will be more episodes in the future here on my channel. So remember to like, subscribe, and even hit that post notification bell button so whenever this new episode is out, you will get notified. My name is Vibe Synthetic, your wave producer and sound designer. I hope to catch you guys on the next episode of the loop breakdown. Peace.